It seems like every day there's new Pokemon Sword and Shield leaks popping up on the internet, new rumors to talk about, and new potential information. As time passes by, a lot of these rumors and pictures have turned out to be fake.
You want to make a fake leak and watch the YouTubers cover it?
However, some of them with time seem more and more likely to be true. Today, I'll be sharing with you the 5 Pokemon Sword and Shield rumors and leaks that I think are real. Number 1. Armored Evolution.
You say this armor protects my body, yet it suppresses my powers.
Your powers are not being suppressed, they're being focused. Learn to use them to accomplish your purpose.
Armored Evolution is one of the oldest and most likely to be true rumors about Pokemon Sword and Shield. The rumor itself is pretty simple. It's basically just saying that in Pokemon Sword and Shield, certain Pokemon will get special new evolution forms called Armored Evolution, similar to how Mega Evolutions came out in Pokemon X and Y in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. The original Armored Evolution leak was posted on February 20th on the website 4chan and told us a few pieces of important information. Number 1, it told us the game name Sword and Shield. Number 2, it told us the region of the games would be based off of Great Britain. And finally, it told us we'd be getting the new mechanic called Armored Evolution, with Charizard, Mewtwo, Flygon, and Zeraora all getting new Armored Evolutions. At first, nobody really paid any attention to this rumor. However, when the games were announced a week later and they actually were called Sword and Shield and the region was based off of Great Britain, this rumor started to get a lot of traction online. As time went on, this rumor has only gained more credibility. Early on in March, the Pokemon Company actually trademarked Armored Mewtwo, which means that they're planning on using Armored Mewtwo for something soon. Each new generation of Pokemon introduces something interesting. Generation 6 introduced Mega Evolutions, Generation 7 introduced Z-moves, so you would expect Generation 8 to have some big mechanic as well, and that mechanic could potentially be Armored Evolution. Number 2, the Galar region being connected to the Kalos region. One of the biggest rumors for Pokemon Sword and Shield is that these upcoming games will actually have 2 regions in them. The first one is obviously going to be the Galar region, but the second one will potentially be the Kalos region. Now, there's a few things that make this theory seem pretty likely. Number 1, in the real world, England is right above the country France. We know Galar is based off of England, and Kalos is based off of France, so if we use real-world geography in our Pokemon games, there's a good chance that the Galar region could be above the Kalos region. And this theory is only supported more by taking a look at both the Kalos region map and the Galar region map. If you line the two up correctly, it actually looks like the two maps could connect very well. And just like in Pokemon Gold and Silver, where you could take a train to get from one region to another region, in Pokemon Sword and Shield we know there are lots of train tracks all over the Galar region that could potentially bring us into Kalos. If we look closely at the Galar region map, we see a train track system that goes right into a mountain. Now, interestingly enough, if we look at the Kalos region map, there's a train station that's right near a mountain in Koroway Town. And if we jump in Pokemon X and Y, we know that the train in Koroway Town exists to bring people from other regions to Kalos. The last Pokemon games to feature 2 regions were Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which are almost 10 years old at this point, and it would be a very nice nod to those games by having Sword and Shield include 2 regions as well. Number 3, Melmetal having a huge role in the story of Pokemon Sword and Shield.
It's just as described in the text. There's no mistaking it. That's Melmetal!
Melmetal is a very interesting Pokemon. It debuted at the end of Generation 7 and not much is really known about it other than its Pokédex entry. It is said that this Pokemon was revered long ago for its capacity to create iron from nothing, and for some reason it has come back to life after 3,000 years. Looking at rumors online, and even the Pokemon Sword and Shield trailer, it's pretty safe to assume that Melmetal is going to have a very big role in these upcoming Pokemon games. In the Pokemon Sword and Shield trailer, we see some hill drawings for a moment that actually resemble Melmetal and Meltan. Pokemon Sword and Shield seem to have an industrial feel to the games, and perhaps Melmetal could be the reason for why. We know that Melmetal has the ability to create iron from nothing, so maybe it helps create the iron that we see all over the Galar region. Or maybe Melmetal is involved with armored evolution, like said in the original 4chan leak. In the past, Game Freak has actually previewed a few new Pokemon before their official games came out. For example, the Pokemon Lucario starred in a Pokemon movie before the games Diamond and Pearl came out. After the movie came out, Lucario had a pretty decent role in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl's story. They could potentially be doing the same thing here with Melmetal, showing it us early and letting us get it in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, only to give it a bigger role later on in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Also, going even a little deeper with Melmetal, we know that in the Pokemon world, the only other thing that was really going on 3,000 years ago was the Kalos Region War.
An age of war had begun. The man had suffered too much, and his rage still had not subsided. He could not forgive the world that had hurt the Pokemon he loved. So he took the machine and turned it into the ultimate weapon.
We know this is the war that the character AZ, the King of Kalos, lost his Floette in, and built a special machine to revive his Floette, but eventually turned that machine into the ultimate weapon and ended the war. There's lots of speculation online that the Kalos region was at war with Galar, and maybe Melmetal was somehow involved with the war. Number 4, a new Eevee Evolution. Every even-numbered Pokemon generation introduces new Eevee evolutions to the Pokemon world. Generation 2 introduced Umbreon and Espeon, Generation 4 introduced Leafeon and Glaceon, and Generation 6 introduced Sylveon. So, going by that logic, it's pretty safe to assume that Generation 8 will introduce a new Eevee evolution as well. It would also be really good timing considering how Eevee just got its own Pokemon game called Let's Go Eevee, and is an extremely popular Pokemon right now. Personally, I'm predicting either a Dragon, Steel, or Poison type Eevee evolution to match the Fairy type Eevee evolution that we got in Generation 6. And finally, legendary Pokemon being based off of wolves. We don't know much right now about the legendary Pokemon of Sword and Shield. The only speculation we have on the legendary Pokemon is by looking at the logos for Pokemon Sword and Shield. They both feature wolves on their logos, and if we take a look at previous Pokemon games like Sun and Moon and X and Y, the logos of these games relate to the legendary Pokemon that are going to be their mascots. Going off of this evidence, it's very safe to assume that in Pokemon Sword and Shield, there's definitely going to be a legendary Pokemon based off of a wolf. There's a popular theory going around that the legendaries in these games are going to be based off of Skrull and Haze, two Norse mythology wolves that are known to chase after the sun and moon. This really would make a lot of sense right now considering the last generation of Pokemon started off with Sun and Moon, so how fitting would it be to have the new generation chasing away the sun and the moon? I hope you enjoyed these 5 rumors and leaks that might be true for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Let me know down in the comments section which one of these 5 was your favorite. If you want more Pokemon Sword and Shield, click any of the videos on the screen right now, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.